Thank you so much for joining us today on Connect and Collaborate, where we come together each day to introduce you to our network of business and community leaders and discuss important issues that impact business in Colorado and the region. And today we are connecting with Global Chamber Denver. Jeffrey Campos, the Executive Director of Global Chamber Denver, is here with us, and it's so great to have you back.
Well, good afternoon on this chilly day.
Yeah, kind of dreary looking, isn't it?
I know, it is a dreary day. It's not as bad as yesterday, Sunday. I mean, sun was out, but it was dreary if you're a football fan.
Oh,
those Broncos are. There's a lot of little depression going on Monday. So the weather was, I guess, perfect for their
mood.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah.
See, I get to be blissfully ignorant. I was just driving around running errands, and I don't listen to football, so I was fine. It was a nice day.
You're one of the lucky people. I bared with it.
Well, thanks so much for being here, Jeffrey. We're so happy to have you represent the Global Chamber here in Denver, and tell everybody a little bit about what the Global Chamber is about.
Global Chamber is an organization that allows collaboration of CEOs, business owners, executives from the cities to be able to get together and collaborate and to really create opportunities international for cities. So we try to create those opportunities, and we help the local businesses that either have been involved in global economy or want to look at trying to do business globally.
Because it's not as far away as you think, right?
Today it's so close.
Yes.
With technology, it really affords a business to be able to expand their reach and not limit themselves just locally.
Yeah. Once you have it down on a local level, you can take it away, huh?
Exactly. There's so many opportunities.
So glad you're helping so many businesses with that. And tell me a little bit about your guests that you have lined up coming up in the forthcoming segments.
Yeah, we have a pretty diverse crowd here today. We have Scott Smith, with Keystone Capital, and Scott is going to talk about funding, because for businesses as they grow, funding is usually critical.
Right.
So I always like to have some funding opportunities for businesses here, and Scott's going to kind of touch that, and his background and his expertise is, especially with immediate cash that's needed, he's going to be talking about that. And then I always, as you well know, I like to have a nonprofit involved in some way, and because giving back to the community here is very critical. And we're going to have Alexandra Alonso from CLLARO, and CLLARO is an acronym for an organization that I'll let her talk about. But she's going to be talking about leadership program and initiatives for the organization that really helps our Hispanic community here in town.
It's the Colorado Latino Leadership Advocacy and Research Organization.
Thank you so much. I didn't have that down. And then
I was ready for you.
Our third and final guest is Juan Garcia. He's with Ahora Global, partner there, and senior advisor to Mexico's President Vicente Fox. He was very instrumental in bringing Fox here the past few months ago that we had him here. So
great event.
He'll talk about his side. We knew it was a success, and we sold out all the events we had. It was amazing, the attendance and the participation. And he's really an individual that really draws people. The way he says it, the way he does it.
Isn't that right? Yeah.
He could say things that I know I wouldn't get away with.
It's true. It's true, because we had him on our show that day that you brought him into the city here.
We did the interview with him.
And he is character's not the right word, but he's got this fantastic charisma.
Yes, he's very charismatic.
And like you said, he can say the things that so many people wish they could,
right.
And somehow he's Teflon.
He gets away with it, yeah. And there were some ideas when he would mention some about the wall or our President Trump. I was always worried that something was going to come out, but he was pretty good about it.
And it's not inciting. He says what he thinks.
He says exactly what he thinks. So we have a good group of people coming up. Excellent. And I'm really excited about it. And just in our final comments here, I want to talk about the environment, the global environment here in Denver, and then how does Global Chamber help support that efforts? Try to figure out how important a city is to the global system is really challenging when you think about it. Cities influence the world in a lot of ways, culturally, economically, scientifically, and travel hubs. For example, our airport here is amazing.
Yes.
For a city this size, we have an international airport that's state of the art and really draws a lot of traffic. Over 50,000 people have been going through this airport, I think, in the past year.
Yeah.
So, and there's a whole lot more that cities are looked at as being global, and those are things that Denver is really striving to be. A global city indicates a city that's considered important to the economic system of the entire world, not just United States, not just Latin America or whatever, but it's so truly global. Important cities have a lot of financial services that serve as headquarters. So really money, it comes down to money. Also corporations or host institutions that are decision-making powers over a global system. But where does that put Denver? I mean, we're in some categories as cities like Detroit, Nairobi, Seattle, Hanoi. Not quite as important as, say, Geneva, Casablanca, or Bogota, but still ahead of some cities like Baltimore, St. Louis, San Jose, St. Petersburg. It's not too shabby. You could see we're really not that quiet mountain town anymore, and we're really getting recognized as a global city, but we still have work to do. And our greatest strength in this region is our economic development strategies, as we commit ahead and build a great infrastructure to support our planning decisions in the Metro Denver. These investments have not only brought new jobs, but enhanced our brand internationally with business decision makers, because companies are looking at other cities in the world to be able to do business in. And when we had President Fox here, he sees Denver as a prime city for economic opportunities. So we're really excited about the future of Denver.
There is so much potential.
And Global has all those tools and resources to be able to support it, along with so many other organizations here in town.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us. Jeffrey Campos. Jeffrey is the Executive Director of Global Chamber Denver, and we're excited to have him with us here on the show, one of our favorite guests to have on.
Thank you so much.
And we're going to be talking more this hour. So coming up next, Jeffrey will be talking with Scott Smith of Keystone Capital Funding, and we're going to discuss that getting capital for your business, right? Right. So stay with us here on Connect and Collaborate, the voice of the Colorado Business Roundtable. We are connecting with Jeffrey Campos from Global Chamber Denver. We're so glad you're staying with us today for Connect and Collaborate. I'm Tammy Schaefer, your on-air producer, and today we are connecting with Jeffrey Campos of Global Chamber Denver. Jeffrey, it's again so great to have you in
it's
studio.
It's always a pleasure being here, Tammy.
I'm so glad you think so.
And it's very nice to have you as my co-host here.
Of course. I'm happy to do it. So your next guest is Scott Smith with Keystone Capital Funding.
Yes, Scott, welcome to our show today.
Thanks for having me.
And we're really excited to hear about what you have to say today. And again, welcome to the show. Could you start by just sharing your background with us? Tell the audience who you are.
Sure. I want to start by saying I love this opportunity to let small business owners know about alternative financing solutions, because I think most people think that their only options are bank loans or high interest cash advances or giving up equity in their business to investors. So it's always fun to let them know that there are better alternatives out there. Some background on myself: I grew up in Florida. I went to college at Auburn, and first 10 years of my career were spent in commercial real estate. And I noticed that the market was changing in 2007, and I took that opportunity to switch gears and provide working capital to small businesses, because banks at that time had just stopped lending entirely.
Right.
So it was good timing, even though I started the business in the middle of the recession. It's gone really well, and even though the banks have loosened their underwriting standards since then, it's still a major challenge to this day for startups and owners with less than perfect credit to get approved for financing. So the type of financing that we offer, factoring, it's really easy to get approved because we're looking at your customer's creditworthiness, not yours. And we rarely look at financials or personal credit when making funding decisions.
So let me understand. Did you start Keystone Capital Funding? It's your business,
Yes,
right?
It's my business.
When did you start it?
2009.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you've been doing this for a little while.
Yep.
What made you start the firm?
Well, I just saw that there was a need for it. We really felt like there was an underserved market there. There weren't a lot of small lenders in the market at the time, so it's a good feeling to give people the working capital they need to grow their business and get them graduated to a traditional line of credit with a bank.
Well, as you well know, challenges today for many businesses cash flow, and it sounds like you have some great solutions that you could share with us today.
Sure. I've touched on factoring, which is our bread and butter. It's also called accounts receivable financing, and it works great for companies that just need to accelerate their cash flow collection. So they've got they're invoicing commercial customers, and those customers are not paying for 30, 60 days, and it creates a cash flow crunch because you have to meet payroll every week or order inventory or supplies. So we do typically an 80% advance on their invoices, and then their customer pays us direct. We rebate the remaining 20% less our factoring fee. And most of our clients are doing this on a weekly basis to improve cash flow. A lot of our clients have been with us since the very beginning, and I'll tell you a little more about some of our success stories.
So let me ask you this: is it for any specific industry? Is it exclusive to any, or can it be for any business?
It's really for any business that sells to another business. It could be product or services, and we've done everything from trucking, staffing, apparel manufacturing, frozen foods. I'm just thinking of the more recent ones.
So any company that does invoicing, any invoices that you have?
If you generate invoices, we can finance you. And, that's a problem. A lot of people are able to get to that point where they're invoicing. They just need a little boost. They just need a little extra capital. And
yeah, that's a big challenge for many small businesses.
Is that like you're getting in orders and you have to put the money up front to make the product, and there's maybe not enough left for payday?
Right.
To fill that gap?
Yeah, they have a big upfront capital expenditure, and they can't wait 30 days to get paid. So it helps them to really, and also it gives them the confidence to go after larger accounts, because now they've got an unlimited line of credit. Every time you add a new customer, we're going to extend that credit line, which is different than a bank. They're going to cap you off at a certain line of credit.
Oh, that sounds great. Scott, how about some success stories that you could share with our audience today?
Sure. We had a staffing company that started with us at $10,000 a month roughly in factoring volume, and over the course of 2 years it went up to $2 million a month. And it was a minority contractor that just really ran with it. He said, "Okay, I've got unlimited line of credit now." So he landed some major accounts with UPS, Spirit Airlines, and now they've got a very large line of credit with a major bank, and doing really well.
So this is a great way to really build your credit, isn't it? It
is, yeah. The banks can, we can stay in touch with the bank that you're working with and let them know how you're progressing, and then hand you off when the time is right.
Great. What other industries that you kind of have most recently done?
Geez, I'm trying to think of. We're working with a company now that is selling waffles to a major grocery chain in the Midwest, and we're doing a kind of a hybrid with them where we're guaranteeing the supplier that we'll pay them directly out of the factoring advance. So in a way, he's because the supplier is not giving him terms, but they're asking for him to pay upfront capital, and that's too tight. So we're giving him money in a way we're providing the credit that he needs for his supplier to extend terms to him. And then when the product is delivered to the customer, we're factoring the advance at that point. So it's a nice closed loop solution there.
So you mentioned that you work with businesses and then you kind of want to grow that relationship from a short term to a long term. How does that work?
Yeah, we do. We start small, and we're looking at this as a long-term relationship. I mean, our mission is to provide the working capital for the companies to grow to their full potential. So, we're kind of looking at ourselves as consultants and a long-term relationship rather than just a short-term solution with high interest rates. We're in it for the long term and until the time is right when they want to graduate.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
And what are some other services that you offer in regard to factoring? What are some other services?
We do a little bit of purchase order financing, and that's when a company is manufacturing a product, usually overseas in China. We'll put up a line of credit, or letter of credit, I should say, or cash to the manufacturer, and once the product is shipped to the customer, that will advance on that from a factoring standpoint and pay off the manufacturer. So it's a nice little system there, and we'll also do a little bit of equipment financing. I recently flew down to Miami after Hurricane Irma, and I purchased 100 dehumidifiers and air scrubbers for a company that was doing some dry out at a hotel down there.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of your three components that you do: equipment and factoring,
and purchase order finance.
Purchase order finance. That our listeners could kind of consider that.
Right.
Okay, great. What are things that you could maybe offer our business owners on the radio?
Well, I think the big thing to think about when you're starting out with a business, or if you're thinking about expanding, is, do you really want to get into debt with a loan, and do you want to give up equity in your business? With factoring, you don't do either. You know, you're basically selling your receivables at a discount. It's not much different than you saying to your customer, we'll give you a 2% discount if you pay us in 10 days. And they usually don't pay in 10 days. It might take 30, and you're still giving them a 2% discount. But in this case, you're getting your money the same day you're generating an invoice. So that's a pretty powerful thing. And I've had a couple of clients that just this year tell me that they've built up a large enough cash reserve that they no longer need factoring. And it was a good thing to hear, because now they have zero debt on their balance sheet. They've given up zero equity in their businesses. So if they want to sell it, they're going to take it all. And factoring got them there. Yeah.
So there's a lot less sleepless nights where knowing how am I going to pay that back?
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of new lenders in the market now that are popping up, and I'm not going to name names, but they're well funded, very slick, easy application process, and the problem is they're debiting the bank account every day, whether you're making money or not. You know, we're only taking money out of the invoice when it's paid.
Comes in. Oh, that's good.
So, and if you do the math on some of these guys, it's over 100% APR a year. So wow. I really warn people to look into that and
so
do your homework.
So they need to do their homework on this.
Right.
They can't just jump into anybody
Right.
that says, hey, we could get you funding. Sure.
Right.
Okay. And how can people get in touch with you?
Well, they can call me at the office. It's 303-209-9321, or visit us at KeystoneCapitalFunding.com. Again, that's 303-209-9321 and KeystoneCapitalFunding.com.
Okay. How about any closing comments or advice that you might want to give our listeners?
Well, I'm just happy to be a part of the Denver community and doing my part to help business owners succeed, and thank you for having me on the show. And
I want to thank you as a member of the Global Chamber. You know, you have some real good strategies and support that you're going to have for our membership moving forward. I'm excited about that.
Me too. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you so much, Scott Smith. And also, I have the Keystone Capital Funding website on our website at cobrt.com.
Right.
If you remember one better than the other, you can still link to it. That's KeystoneCapitalFunding.com, and you can also find the information at cobrt.com. Jeffrey, I'm so glad again to have you here. We're going to come back with a little more information, more of your members of Global Chamber, right?
Yep.
So stick with us here on Connect and Collaborate, Voice of the Colorado Business Roundtable. I'm Tammy Schaefer, your on-air producer, and today we're connecting with Jeffrey Campos of Global Chamber. Stay with us. We have much more coming up after this break. We're so glad you're staying with us today here on Connect and Collaborate. I'm Tammy Schaefer, your on-air producer, and today we are connecting with Jeffrey Campos from Global Chamber. And it's, again, great to have you here, and I love the range of guests you're bringing us today as well.
I try to keep it really diverse and from industry to
You do. You keep it fast-paced in here.
I love it.
No lollygagging.
No lollygagging. That's true.
So we have Juan Garcia on the phone with us. He's from Ahora Capital.
Which
I knew I shouldn't say the H.
Now. That means now.
I knew
in
that.
Spanish. There you go.
Just my pronunciation is cruddy. And he's also a senior advisor to President Vicente Fox.
Yes, he is. He was instrumental in getting Fox here.
That is fantastic.
Yeah,
I'm glad you've got such great connections.
Oh, thank you.
So Juan, are you with us?
Yes, I am. And please, no more getting Jeffrey's ego all the time.
Juan, it's really a pleasure to have you on the show today and meeting you for the first time today, right? I'm just kidding. We've known each other for a little while. And last time you visited Denver was when Global Chamber hosted Mexico President Vicente Fox. And our audience really wants to know about the visit and the result from President Fox coming to Denver. So give us the scoop. What did he think, how it went, and so on? We'd love to know. We know our part here, but we want to hear from you.
Sure. And thank you for having me on the show today. Overall, the Denver visit was a tremendous success, Jeffrey. The attention to detail by you and the Global Chamber team was impeccable.
Thank you.
Meetings and events organized in cooperation with the office of Governor Hickenlooper and Mayor Hancock were very productive for the president and for myself. And it really put Denver and the state of Colorado on his and my personal map. Let me tell you what that means. For the president, it means that he discovered a new market possibility for the state of Guanajuato in Mexico for future trade missions, not just from Mexico, but also from Latin America. You know, President Fox is a member of the club, is made up of all former heads of state. And as a member of that club, and me being as senior advisor, we have access to all those former heads of state for hooking up potential trade missions to the state of Colorado, for intellectual and commercial exchanges in different lanes of business. For example, in the medical lane, which, you know, I'm working on bringing the Secretary of Health and Human Services equivalent from Mexico to Colorado in early part of 2018. For high tech, for automotive, for aerospace, just to name a few. So we discovered not only a very open series of civic leaders and business leaders, but just overall, because of the commonality and the multiculturalism of Denver, and of course the president and his passion for creating trade lanes, it was a great trip. And thank you once again for putting it together.
Oh, it was such an honor to have President Fox and yourself, Wanda, here, and to be able to promote the opportunities that exist with Mexico and even Latin America, to even go a step further. So we were excited. We felt it was a great success, and the relationship will continue to grow. And I know you have some other initiatives that are going to come out of this. And one of them, Juan, you are a partner at Ahora Global. Tell us what Ahora does.
Well, let me tell you, Ahora Global is a child that was born out of the Denver event. The overall goal of Ahora Global is to facilitate trade between Colorado-based corporations and Mexico. Ahora Global is a trade facilitator. It's got 12 core competencies in-house. Through an association or an alignment with Ahora Global as a consulting group to help you grow your business in Mexico and Latin America, you get a lot of benefits, not least of which is political influence in those respective countries in Latin America where you would want to do business, starting with Mexico. If you want to sell widgets in Mexico, there's specific things you need to know about, not just the tax authority, but the labor laws. Those are the core competencies of Ahora Global. We have the ability to be able to pull in subject matter experts in different disciplines in Mexico that will ensure the launch of your brand or your footprint to be expanded without any problems. So I hope I didn't ramble on, but quite basically, trade and business facilitation.
Give me an example of how you would work with a business if they wanted to expand in Mexico.
Sure. Pick a product, just any product.
Let's, Tammy, what do you think?
Oh, boy.
Let's do-
Okay. I'll be typical. I'll say shoes. Is that a product?
Manufacturing.
Probably no. You need manufacturing, something like that. I'm sorry, I went girly on you.
Okay. I have a wife. Shoes.
Yeah, my wife would have definitely picked shoes.
It was
too.
the first thing that came to mind. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I understand and I appreciate and I respect that.
Thank you.
Where your heart is.
And manufacturing is a much better example.
Okay, manufacturing. Light manufacturing or heavy manufacturing? You got to be specific now.
They're women's shoes, so they're going to be light.
Oh, I'm not going to live this down.
Coincidentally, speaking of shoes, in the state of Guanajuato, where the Presidential Library is located for Vicente Fox and where he was born and raised, León, Guanajuato is the shoe manufacturing capital of the Americas.
See,
There
I
you
knew
go.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shoes is an easy one. You know, there are certain permits and licenses that must be acquired for the client. In this case, let's say you want to manufacture shoes in Mexico, you would hire Ahora Global to get through all of the bureaucracy as far as your permits, your licenses. We would bring in subject matter experts that we already have relationships with to work out all the taxation issues, to work out all of the labor issues, because there are some labor laws you must be aware of in Mexico that you have to try to navigate around. And that's what we do. We know where all the minefields are located in trying to do business in Mexico. We guide you through that morass and get you to the other end, you know, with an operating model that will ensure your success and your profitability.
What about security? I know some companies always feel that there might be some security issues that they need to be concerned about. Is that something you could handle too?
Absolutely. Coincidentally, we have a subject matter expert that's a friend of our firm that is a world-class security entity. In fact, I got them hired to do all the security protocols for the Presidential Library and President Fox, and we're very pleased with the outcome of that relationship. So I would pull them in to, first of all, look at your product, look at, in this case, shoes, look at the business model, because at the end of the day, it's all about client intimacy. The more we know about your business, the easier it's going to be for us to bring solutions to the table that will ensure your profitability and your success in Mexico.
Great. How can people get in touch with you, Juan?
Well, they need to call 1-800-JEFFREY Campos.
That's right.
I would ask that anybody wanting to speak to me first give Jeffrey a call and send him an email, and then he'll get in touch with me, and I'll come running.
Great. Thank you, Juan. We really appreciate your insights and all the great comments you made about the Fox visit here in Denver. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Jeffrey.
You have a great evening.
Okay. Thanks. All right, let's go see if...
Ease into this,
You got it.
this interview here today. Tell us a little about your background.
My background, well, I was born in Orlando, Florida. My mom is from Havana, Cuba, and my biological dad is from Bogota, Colombia. So I grew up until I was about 7 years old in Orlando, and then I moved to Denver when I was young, 7 or 8. So I grew up here, and so I adore the outdoors and I love the mountains as much as I love the beach. But I went to elementary school here, high school here, Highlands Ranch High School. I went to CU Boulder. So I consider myself to be a Coloradan.
Yeah, you're a Colorado.
Sure.
But here's the trouble, right? So when people ask me where I'm from, I tell them I have sister cities, Orlando and Denver, because I have so much
That makes sense.
family in both places.
You have to. Yeah.
But I moved back to Orlando about 5 years ago, thinking I would stay. And my journey to CLLARO actually started the day that I decided to come back to Denver. I reached out to one of my mentors. Her name is Elizabeth Suarez. And she was like, you need to get home. You need to learn about the Latino community here. Like, we need you. So she was really instrumental in kind of encouraging me. I ended up going to a Latino forum at the Denver Post. And I was really curious about sort of what the status of the Latino community was, because over the course of 3 years, I knew it had changed in the context of Denver, but I knew Colorado was changing overall. And there was the Lieutenant Governor Joe Garcia then, the state demographer, which was really interesting, and a few other, there was a reporter and another nonprofit leader there, and they drilled down the census data for the Latinos in Colorado and sort of showed what the process was for the changing demographics and what it looked like for education and workforce readiness. And I was like, people asked me if I was a reporter because I was there by myself taking notes.
Oh, taking all your notes.
Just because I was curious and I was really eager to kind of get a sense for what was happening in Colorado, and I wanted to be involved, and I had no idea in what capacity.
Right.
I would then meet the director of operations at the Denver Post. Her name is Linda Shapley. She's now a bigwig. And she offered me a job at the Denver Post running their internship program, which is where I met Greg Moore, who is the former editor of the Denver Post. And he introduced me to Cristina Alonso, who is the former executive director of CLLARO.
Well, speaking of executive directors, I understand you're newly appointed.
I am.
Executive director of CLLARO.
That's right.
They got some really exciting things ahead. And tell us a little about your newly appointed position.
Sure. I am really thrilled and super honored. And, I knew it was a huge set of shoes to fill, but also an important role because CLLARO is 53 years old. It was founded in 1964. And so I knew that there really was a certain level of responsibility and needing to be sure to sort of step up to the plate. But I started my journey with CLLARO as a volunteer. Education is something that I'm extremely passionate about. They had an education task force. I ended up being a program manager once I was done with the Capital Fellowship program, which is now our flagship program.
Right.
That's something that I'm very excited about. And then when the opportunity kind of presented itself, I knew that leadership is exceptionally important to me. The Latino community in Colorado is close to my heart. And it was just an opportunity that I thought, why not put my name in the hat and see what happens? And I'm very, very grateful that the board entrusted CLLARO to me, and it's been an exciting journey.
I think the benefit of all this is going to be the Denver community. I think you're going to be very
agree.
instrumental in what we're doing here.
Well, thank you. And I think, in Orlando, I looked for a community like the one that we have here, and it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It's just that I wasn't connected to it in the same way.
Find it that way.
No. And so I love it here. And
Your destiny was Denver.
It was, and I got married here, and like my husband lived here, and it was meant to be.
Oh,
Great.
it's wonderful.
Talk about some of the initiatives and challenges of the organization that you kind of have seen.
Definitely. I'll talk about the initiatives first and then the challenges, because challenges are prevalent no matter what.
Sure.
I'm excited about the future of CLLARO because of some of the initiatives that we've been able to sort of hone in on, focus in on with our board and our staff through strategic planning. We did that this year about midway. We've got all of our programming focuses on leadership development. We decided as an organization that given our history, when we look forward, we wanted to know what is it going to look like to move the Latino community forward, and we decided that leadership development would be our vehicle,
right.
Because that can really
That's our future.
It's our future, and
Right.
I'm a product of our Capital Fellowship program, and I believe deeply in how much it helped me to find my own confidence. So we decided, okay, Capital Fellowship program is our flagship program. We take juniors and seniors in college or grad students and put them in the office of a legislator for the full legislative session.
Really?
January to May.
Wow.
And that does two things. It gives them exposure, which is brilliant, of course, but we also charge them with making themselves sort of absolutely invaluable, meaning we prepare them to do research about policy.
Okay.
We prepare them to think about policies and certain bills through the lens of how it would impact the Latino community.
Oh.
So we're really challenging students to think critically about these policies and how it impacts the communities that they come from. Like, that's the goal.
Right.
So we're doing that through the Capital Fellowship Program, but we're also doing that at the community level, which I think is also very important, because when we think about policies under the dome, all you hear is, well, how has this been informed by the communities that this is going to touch? Like, how is that voice being articulated?
Right.
But we don't have a lot of opportunities for community leaders to make their voices heard at the school board meetings, at the city council meetings, at the state legislature. So through our Capital Fellowship Program is for students. Then we have our Community Health Advocacy Program. That's the CHAP program.
Yeah.
And the Parents Advocating for Local Schools. There you go. You might find it on our website under What We Do, I think. Oh, and
Right. It was
that's
under
coming
Who
soon.
We Are, and I
Yes.
went under Mission. And
Perfect.
yeah, and it's probably under What We Do as
Yep.
well.
And the Community Health Advocacy Program is one of my favorites. That was where both the Community Health Advocacy Program and the Parents Advocating for Local Schools, we decided that those are two of our policy priorities as CLARO, health and education. The third is aging, which we're kind of in the process of developing, because we're seeing that there's really a need for supporting the older and
Yes.
aging Latino population.
Oh, sure.
The aging population in general, but
was gonna
especially
say.
for Latinos,
Yeah.
because the culture is changing a bit.
Those are some great initiatives, but I know you need support, and I know you have a milestone event coming up. So,
We do.
So can you tell us a little about that?
Of course, of
And how can
course.
someone be involved? That's the key.
No, I love it. And that's one thing I'm really excited to talk about. The challenge right now is that we really see that it's difficult in an era where we see so much struggle happening and sort of political noise happening at the national and state level. For CLARO, we have to make sure that we are still around to make sure we find hope in the future generations of Latino leadership. That's our goal.
Right.
So if you want to support that work, we have our 25th annual Bernie Valdez Award celebration. It's our annual fundraiser. It's happening on this Friday from 6 to 9:30 at the Stanley Marketplace.
Oh, fun.
It's in Aurora. If you've
Yeah.
never been there, you should come check it out.
It is a neat little place.
It's really great. And I like it there because it's in Aurora. It doesn't necessarily have the best reputation of being reflective of Aurora itself, because it's near Stapleton and things like
Right.
that. But I am really eager to have CLARO be there to represent Latinos. So you can still sponsor. There's still time to sponsor that event.
okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, fantastic.
And if you'd like to purchase tickets, you can go onto our website. Exactly. It's claro.org/BVA.
Okay, great.
Tickets
And
are
there's
still available.
Tickets available. It's going to be a fun event. Some of the highlights of the evening.
Yeah, we're going to do a full highlight of Bernie Valdez. He's our founder.
Nice.
We're going to highlight 25 years of Bernie Valdez awardees. And then we're going to take the rest of the program to highlight 5 years of Capital Fellow alumni, folks who have gone through the program and have really benefited. So we hope you'll come out and support us.
Great. I know I'll be there.
I can't wait to have you there, Jeff.
Great.
Thank you so much, Alexandra Alonso of CLARO. And all this information is on our website at cobrt.com. You can get the links right there. So thanks so much for joining us today. We're glad to have had you,
Yes,
Alexandra.
thank you so much. For
Thanks
making it.
so much. I appreciate it.
And thank you, Jeffrey Campos, for helping
Thank
us out
you,
today.
Tammy. Pleasure always.